Good day, guys, and welcome to the NRL 2024 Grand Final preview. You've seen my tipping video the other night. I put out my tips. So, look, if these boys have seen my tipping video, then obviously they know which way I've swayed, but I don't know which way they're going, and hopefully they don't know which way I'm going. But every year I've done this, I've gotten a few different creators, and it will continue to happen. For as long as I'm on YouTube, I'll get different creators each year, mix it up a little bit. But tonight, we have Julian Ali, massive fan of the Dragons, TikTok star. And we have Joel from A League of Inches as well, massive Parramatta fan, known for saying, "You've got rocks in your head." Tonight, boys, we're going to be speaking about all things state championship, the women's NRL grand final, the men's grand final, our first try scorer, and our Clive Churchill medal. Is anyone excited for Sunday? Because, look, I'm excited, but I'm not very excited. Julian?
Yeah, I'm 50-50 as well because, it's same old Melbourne, Penrith. It's not going to be another team. Like, Penrith have been dominating the past few years, and Melbourne's always in the finals, and they've both just made it again. So, yeah, 50-50.
Joel, give us a reason to get excited for Sunday night.
I'm actually pumped. As a rugby league fan, I'm pumped for this because it's the two classy teams, the two standout teams for the year, and they get to basically just go at it for 80 minutes and bash the crap out of each other, basically. And I'm all for it. I know it's a big loss to the Nelson side of things. That's huge for the Storm, but I still think it's going to be a massive game, and I'm looking forward to seeing if the Storm, who obviously was the last team that beat Penrith before this massive streak, can be the team that end it.
It's crazy what you've mentioned there with that whole Storm one. I think in 2020, the Panthers were expected to win that game after that massive win streak, and the Storm pulled off that upset for Cameron Smith, rise to the occasion, that sort of vibe. And now, look, the Panthers, they've been dominant. They've three-peated. This is their fifth straight grand final, potential to four-peat. And it does feel like if the Storm get this win, it could be the end of that book of chapters. But, the Panthers lose Luai, Taruva, and we seem to be forgetting it, but they lose Fisher Harris as well next year. And they've still got such a great team that can go to a grand final once again. They're just so classy, so competitive. I'm sick of talking about the Panthers, so let's get into it. We'll talk about them later. Let's get into the New South Wales versus Queensland State Championship. So the Newtown Jets, they knocked off the Bears, North Sydney Bears, 28-22 in a cracking game, a very high-scoring grand final the other day, and the Jets go through, taking on my boys, the North Devils. If you don't know Albert Bishop Park, it's actually named after part of my family, so massive support there for the Devils. And I'll be in my Devils jersey at the grand final. That's the only team to me that matters at the end of the day. So, yeah, both of these teams, nice victories, 8 points to the Jets and 14 points to the Devil. New South Wales have a very good record at winning the state championships. That makes it sort of tough for the Devils with the crowd behind them. I'll go to you first, Joel. Where do you think this game is sort of going to be won? Do you think it will be high scoring? And who do you think is going to take home the state championship in 2024?
I think it'll be high scoring. I think both teams go out there, I guess, have a bit of fun. I know it's a big cup, and you obviously do want to win it. You're there on the big day, so you want to win the silverware that's on offer. But I also feel like, dating back for this one, it's been one of those games where you do see some really good tries. It's a pretty fast game. It's pretty a bit all over the shop as well, which is always good to start the day with. Obviously, it's the first game of a massive afternoon for us league lovers. So you wouldn't want to sit there and watch one of those games where they just go up and down the field for 60 or 80 odd minutes. And it's good that we get to see some exciting football. So I think it will be quite open because from what I've seen, and to be honest, I haven't seen much of either this year. Just the NRL side of things have just taken up the page a lot. But from what I have seen and from what I've seen for both grand finals, both teams love to attack. So it's going to be, I think, a very high scoring game. And both teams have some good quality players to be able to produce some attack as well. So like we've seen Tessie New for the North Devils against the Dolphins for that grand final. He absolutely looked like, if no one had known him well, I'd probably think he was some rugby league superstar, NRL superstar that was just there because he was injured or something and just tore it up, because that's how good he looked. So it's up to the Jets. Can they contain him? He seems to be in a mood at the moment, playing for obviously contracts and the like. And wants to get picked up in another NRL opportunity. So it's interesting how you say the New South Wales Cup side has a better history with it. I feel like that might be because the Queensland team have that week off, which is probably used to party and celebrate winning that Queensland Cup, which is totally understandable. So I'll stick with the New South Wales Cup side in this one. I think Newtown can just get it done, but I think it's going to be really one of those high scoring, like a 38-30 sort of score lines or something. I think it'll be really high.
That sounds like a cracking start to the Sunday, albeit the North Devils losing. Julian, what do you think for this game?
Yeah, I agree with Joel here. I think it'll be very high scoring. I did watch the Devils and Dolphins game, and it was a pretty good game. Not gonna lie, I didn't watch the Cup game, the Cup final, because I was busy. But I do support the New South Wales sides always, but I do think Newtown can run away with this. But yeah.
When you say run away, you think they'll get a 13+ win here?
Or no, I think because that Devils game, it was really close at one point, and then they just ran away with it. Like last 10 minutes, you knew it was kind of over. But
I feel like
Yeah.
for me as a Devils fan, it's hard not to be sort of biased here, but being sort of that Kansas City Chiefs sort of vibe in the NFL where 3 of the last 5 years we've now won a title after breaking sort of a massive hoodoo off the back. So for me, I think the Devils get this win, a bit of redemption for the loss in 2022. I'll go the Devils to win by 8 points. As you boys said, I love to attack in that grand final. And, the Newtown Jets, they lead 22 points in their grand final. So not to say they won't be up for it, but I'll chuck in a score. I'll go the Devils to win 26-18 to start off our grand final Sunday. Well, let's move into the women's game. It's the Roosters taking on the Cronulla Sharks. Now, the Sharks finished in 4th and the Roosters in 2nd, I believe. Let me know if I'm wrong. Because the Broncos, who finished in 1st, they were knocked off in that game. And now the Roosters return to the grand finals. Always seem to be Roosters, Knights, or Broncos. But this year, we get the Cronulla Sharks in the mix who... as you said, Julian, in your interview with Quincy, they were going to, go on to win every game after being on a fantastic start to the season, and they just dropped off. And they dropped off against the Roosters. They played against the Roosters and got absolutely slaughtered to them.
Yeah, it was like 40 minutes.
Yeah, a massive score. I was on my way down to Penrith to Diggers, and I didn't expect that when I saw it. Yeah. So I'll go first here. Look, I think that the Roosters have plenty of experience. I think that both of these teams have experience. On the Sharks, you've got Tiana Penatani in that side as well, who was playing great in that 14-0. And no one expected a 14-0. No one expected the Sharks to be here. They were $3.50 odds. So everyone sort of wrote them off besides League of Inches there. But I think the Roosters will get this done. I think the Roosters have shown, especially in that forward pack sort of experience, that Millie Boyle sort of factor. And Sam Bremner at the back has been playing really, really well recently. So I don't think the Roosters will run away with it per se, but I think that the Roosters will find a way to win. And I feel like this could be low scoring. I will go with the Roosters by 4. I'll go a tight one for the NRLW. We do sometimes see a bit of an upset in these NRLW grand finals or origin matches, but I'll go the Roosters by 4, and I'll stay away from try scorers for this one. Julian, what do you think of the NRLW grand final?
I'll agree with you there, but Roosters, they do have a lot of experience, right? But I still think Sharks can go all the way. Like after that drop off, after I interviewed Quincy, I think I cursed them for a minute. I think after those losses will just have gone in their heads, and then it just all comes to just one game. Those 6 wins, like they could have gone like more wins, but they just dropped off. But I still think Sharks can pull off a massive upset here, and it'd be good for them to win it.
Go on, tip them. Tip the Sharks. I know you want to. Go against the rub of the green.
Tipping the Sharks.
There you go. He's tipping the Sharks. He's going against me. Joel, we've gone 1-1. Who are you going with?
Well, I was on the Sharkies bandwagon last week, but I was also on the Knights bandwagon. I went for both upsets. So One came off, one didn't. Huge credit, I thought, to the Sharkies on the weekend. They would get a lot of confidence out of that game. And watching that, they played so well. Their online defense, they withstood so much from the Broncos, and they've been probably the standout team of the year. I was lucky enough to talk to James Howard a couple of days ago. He mentioned like versing them was just something that you didn't really look forward to because they just had strike all over the park. They were a dangerous football team, and Sharkies to withstand that, I feel like they'll get a lot of confidence out of that game. On paper, you look at this game and you think, to be honest, you think the Roosters 13 plus. That it's not a walk in the park, but it's something that just they've got class everywhere you look in this lineup, and familiar names for everyone that's followed the game for a while now. They've just got players that have been almost the best in their position for some time now. So, but on the other hand, the Sharkies, as I said, that Broncos game, they get a lot of confidence out of that. I feel like the big stage, we always see those little errors that happen, especially early, a lot of pressure. That will play into the Sharks' hands, I think, because they'll just want to grind away here. They'll know that after on the weekend how they played, the lower the scoring, the better for them. And if the Roosters can have some early errors and they can perhaps get a try on the board, the Sharks feel very confident. But I think the experience ends up getting the Roosters over the line in a very tight one. I think it's Semi Bremner who retires after this, I think. So if I'm correct with what I heard there. So they'll want to do it for her. She's been an absolute legend and a gun in this women's game for a while now. So it's been great to see her come back for this year and have a great game. I think the Roosters by 4. I think they'll get it done.
I've got the Roosters by 4 as well. And the more I think about it, I think it might be high scoring. I think it might be I don't know. I reckon it'll be like I think I said low scoring before, but I'll go like a 26-22. This will almost be like a New South Wales Cup sort of game. I don't know. The Sharks are
low scoring.
Yeah.
You both going low?
Yeah, I'm going pretty low. They'll just run at each other for half the game, I reckon. Solid defense from both sides, and then one team at the end of the day will come out with it.
I honestly think like a 12-8 scoreline. That's what I keep saying.
Yeah, that'd be good. Well, you mentioned the words, the main stage. Let's move into the main stage, the 2024 NRL Grand Final, a rematch of the 2020 Grand Final. In 2020, the Storm ended what was going to be the beginning of a Penrith Panthers dynasty, and we could have been talking about the Panthers already being 4-peat champions looking for their 5th Grand Final. But the Storm ended that back in 2020. Now the Panthers have a chance to beat the Storm and show them who's boss and continue this dynasty, because the debate has started again on whether in the last 20 years it's Penrith or Melbourne that have been that best competitive sort of team. A lot of talks about Craig Bellamy, Ivan Cleary. It is Tuesday at the time of filming this. This video comes out on Wednesday, but it is Tuesday, so Team List Tuesday has dropped. Joel, you mentioned earlier, Nelson Asofa-Solomona is out for this one, and this means that Josh King moves to prop, with Trent Liero going to lock for this. And then onto the bench is Lazarus Valapu, who's had a couple of nice touches, and he's also had a try in the NRL. So really, really big in there.
Tui moves to the starting prop as well.
Who's that?
Tui Kamikamica moves to starting prop. He's been on the bench. So.
He does. Tui comes into jersey number 8 for that match as well. Besides that, no other changes. A little bit of an injury cloud from what we hear over Nick Meaney, but I believe anyone will play. It's the grand final. They'll be up for it, even if it's for 5 minutes. On the reserves for the Storm, Grant Anderson, Joe Chan, Kane Bradley, Tepai Maroa, and Joel's favourite, Sua Falago, is there on the reserves list. What was that?
My boy.
Your boy. On the reserves for the Panthers, Casey McLean, Scott Sorensen named amongst the reserves for this one, so probably not going to be part of the grand final unless he's a late inclusion, because Ivan Cleary's been doing that all year. He's been putting him on the bench or putting him in the starting side with 5 minutes to go until the game starts. Trent Talau in jersey 20, Dane Laurie in jersey 21, and Luke Summerton in jersey number 22. Let's talk a little bit about these teams during the final series. So in week 1, we saw the Melbourne Storm in a bit of a grind in the first half against the Sharks. I think it was 14-10, but then they kicked away with it with a 37-10 victory. which then took them into the prelim where they beat the Roosters quite convincingly, almost putting 50 points there on the Sydney Roosters. It was 24-18 at one point. Then you go to the Penrith Panthers, who beat the Roosters convincingly in week 1, and we thought, shit, here we go again. They're in the best form ever. And then they got into a grind. You know, I got to give credit to the Penrith Panthers. I know they were expected to win quite easy against the Sharks, but just the way they played, even though they made some errors, the way they played in those wet conditions that have been their kryptonite for years. Everyone said they can't play in the rain, but you know, Cleary with that 40-20 return from injury as fresh as ever. Not your tip for the grand final, but who do you think has been the more informed team in the final series for you, Julian?
I think Storm has, to be honest. They've been grinding just like more than 30 points every game. And yeah, just Storm have been dominating. Panthers, the way they played against Sharks, it's like, they can't play like that in the grand final, man, but they do show up on the main stage.
All right, Joel, do you disagree with Julian there that the Storm are the form team right now of the final series, or do you think the Penrith Panthers are starting to show it once again?
I have to agree 100% with Julian. I think the Storm are the favourites, in my opinion, for this one. It's only very, very slightly, but I think they've been playing very, very well, very good in the last couple of weeks. And the one scary thing for mine is their spine. I know they're up against Cleary, Luai, Edwards, but what I've seen on the weekend from their spine, and I guess that second half of that first week against the Sharks, they were phenomenal. And that was probably, and I put a post out about it, I think that was the best spine performance I've seen in a long time. Like I'm struggling to go back and think about when the last time a 1, 6, 7, and 9 all together played that well individually and as a unit. So I think just that gets them over the line. And in terms of being the form team at the moment, it's a very scary spine diverse.
I think defensively, the Panthers have been very solid all year. And I think the Storm have kind of struggled in defense this year in some big games against like the Tigers. They've leaked 28 points, so they needed to sort those out. And coming into this final series, they've started to defend a lot better. And, you know, they've kept teams to under that 2018 sort of points that we were hoping to kind of see. And that's why I feel like I agree with you. They've got both the attack and the defense. But these Panthers, man, they've already done the 3 in a row. So it's just so hard to speak any sort of negativity side about them. The Storm also finished first in the regular season. The Panthers finished in second. Did the Panthers deserve to finish in second? Probably. They've still been a very formed team. Let's talk a little bit about Jahrome Hughes, because Jahrome Hughes, at the time of filming this, could be an hour away from getting the Dally M medal. He seems to be, a lock to get that Dally M medal, you'd hope. How big, Joel, do you think the confidence going around Jahrome Hughes' form, he's 6 tries in 3 games or whatever it is, plus the Dally M medal heading into a grand final is?
I think that it's sky high for him at the moment. I just spoke about how good their spine was on the weekend, and the end of the day, he was still the standout. He was still man of the match, in my opinion, on the weekend. And when you peel that back and think about the fact that included Munster, that included Harry Grant, and that included Pappenhausen, who was back to one of his better performances since all those dreadful injuries, his confidence is sky high. And a lot of people have said he's probably easily the best running halfback or playmaker we've got in the game. And he just continues to surge. You feel like it's going to come to a halt, especially now that Munster seems to be probably as fit as he's been all year, and probably the strongest he's looked. So you'd think that would take something away from Hughes. But if anything, it's made him grow an extra leg somehow. And it's like there's 2 of him out there.
He's been killing it, man. He's been the best player for a number of weeks. I feel like I didn't want to spoil it, but because I want to put out a video with my Dally M top 5, but I feel like for the season consistently, I feel like Angus Crichton was up there for the best player of the season if it wasn't for Jahrome Hughes. But in those last, say, 6 weeks, Jahrome Hughes, as you said, it feels like there's 2 of them out there. Julian, let's talk a little bit about the Panthers on your side. Who besides Nathan Cleary is the key to winning this game? Who do the Storm need to shut down and is in great form sort of for the Panthers or has that grand final experience?
For the past few years, I would say Luai, because he's really stepped up this year without Cleary. Like when he was injured, he's really stepped up with the Panthers and won them a few games. Like, yeah. Other than that, I think Luai, to be honest, even though last year he was out for a bit, in the grand final, but I still think Luai will step up a bit. On Sunday because it's his last game with the Panthers as well, and he wants, obviously everyone wants him to end it on a high, so I think Luai.
Well, there we go. We've spoken a little bit about the game. You've been waiting for it. Julian, what will the score be in the 2024 NRL Grand Final?
Oh, this will be a tough one. Score, I didn't think of the score prediction. Wow, I think obviously both really great teams. Wow, I think I want the Storm to win. So I've got Storm 1-12, but I really don't know a scoreline. Jeez, put me under pressure here.
Get it out, boy.
Oh.
You know me, I love score lines.
Scores last year's grand final, pretty decent points.
26-24.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Wow. I reckon Storm can win. Storm can win 24-14.
So the Storm to win by 10 points and lift the 2024 premiership.
I think
Storm
will end their dynasty.
The dynasty comes to an end. Is Joel on the same page before I get into my tips? Storm versus Panthers, Sunday night. What will the score be, Joel?
I think the scoreline is going to be a very, very tight one. Would not surprise me if this goes into extra time. I'm predicting a scoreline of 17 points to 16. That is to the Melbourne Storm.
The Melbourne Storm winning by 1 point there. Well, it's such a tough one to pick. Tell you what, we've seen some big blowouts in some games we've expected to be close in grand finals previously. Besides Panthers Eels, we all saw that coming. But there's been some massive blowout scores, and that's why this game could be a 36-14 or something stupid like that. But it just doesn't feel like it, does it? And these teams have put together two great contests this year, an 8-0 cracking game from the Storm, shutting out the Panthers in round one, putting out a statement, and then beating them this year. So, you could compare the Storm a little bit to the Eels of 2022, a team that beat the Panthers in the regular season. Now it's crunch time. Can they do it in a finals match? I think they can. I'm going to go the Storm to win. So we're all going the Storm. I was hoping someone would go Penrith, but we're all going the Storm to win. I've got the Storm winning this game 22 points to 16. And I feel like Nathan Cleary is going to miss. His goal kicking was okay the other day, but he did miss some kicks. I feel like he's going to miss one here. It's going to be very crucial. It's going to lead to the Storm being able to get more points in attack. So for me, Joel and Julian, we've all got the Melbourne Storm lifting that 2024 premiership and ending the dynasty that is the Panthers. It's time to get into our first try scorer, boys. So, look, I didn't give you this. It is a bit on the spot, but as well as your first try scorer, I would love to hear your roughy try scorer for the game as well. Look, if it's not a winger, I'll consider it as a roughie, anything that's not a winger. But your first try scorer, Joel, we'll go with you first. Who is going to score? Look, we've seen Mitch Kenny last year. We saw... I think was it Brian To'o or Stephen Crichton in 2022?
Tried to erase that one from my memory.
2021 was Sam Verrills, I think. So there's been some massive... Or 2019 was Sam Verrills, sorry. 2021, I forget now. But there's been some roughies in the past. Who's going to get the first points on Sunday night?
I don't think it'll be a roughie, this one. I actually think it'll be Will Warbrick. He will get the first try scorer for the Storm, or a roughie try scorer throughout the game. Sean Bloor will be my lock-in Ruffy try scorer on the edge there. I think he might be able to run a nice line and get over and barge himself all over after basically just cementing it. What a trade that sort of was, him to Oldham as well. I think the Storm have definitely won out in that trade in the end.
Well, you've stolen it off me. My first try scorer for the 2024 NRL Grand Final is also Will Warbrick. I think his form's been exceptional, whether it's off a kick and a bit of an aerial. Not only Xavier Coates, on the other side, Will Warbrick can do it. So I think he's about $10. I really like Will Warbrick to score first. Shame you stole that off me. The Ruffy, look, I was picking him. I had a feeling that the Storm's number 13 would score. But now that Trent Liero's the 13 and Josh King moves to prop, I'm going to stick solid with my prediction in the video. I'm going to go with Josh King to score an anytime try in the grand final. I think he scored a try about 3 weeks ago against the Broncos maybe. And I just feel like Josh King knows how to find the line in those sort of games. So, yeah, big Ruffy first anytime try scorer. As for Panthers try scorer, boys, I think that Dylan Edwards is going to score a try in this grand final. Julian, who is your first try scorer and Ruffy try scorer?
First try scorer, I've actually got Paul Alamotti, just to get the Panthers pumped. I think they'll get the first maybe 6 points or even more, and then they'll get pretty confident from there. But then Storm will, But my Ruffy, I was going to say, would Isaiah Yeo be one?
Yeah, Isaiah Yeo's a massive Ruffy, mate.
I reckon he could get it down because, I don't know, he's now the most capped Panthers player and everyone's behind his back, so like he could get it done.
Isaiah Yeo was massive last week. And that takes me into our next segment because, look, I do have the Storm winning and I will talk about my pick for the Clive Churchill. But before I do, I'll get to you boys before I get to my Storm one. But for the Panthers, if they win, Isaiah Yeo to win the Clive Churchill medal. Yes, Isaiah Yeo's form this season has been massive. And although Nathan Cleary is playing exceptionally well, he's a 2-time Dally M medalist. We've seen Dylan Edwards get it in the past when Nathan Cleary arguably deserved it as well. And so for me, someone like Isaiah Yeo, look, you could throw in your Jerome Luai, who's leaving. If he has a big game, step up, that sort of thing. But Isaiah Yeo has been exceptional this season. And for me, he's a lock for lock of the year. His form, I honestly think it's been a career best season. Even though the Panthers haven't been at their absolute best, he's been a star. And his performance last week as the most capped Panther against the Sharks, I thought he had an absolute blinder. Another thing that I've kind of thrown you on the spot here, but it's pretty easy to come up with. Boys, if the Panthers, we've all picked against them, if the Panthers are to win, who's the Clive Churchill medal going to go to? Julian.
If they do win, as you said, what you just said before, if Jerome Luai steps up and literally leads the way, I think he could get the Clive Churchill. But other than that, yeah, I think Jerome Luai he's going to step up on Sunday.
Well, Joel, if the Panthers are to get the win, I just have a feeling you'll say Nathan Cleary, but who do you think will win the Clive Churchill medal if Penrith are to win?
To be honest, I think your Isaiah Yeo shout is absolutely spot on, but I'll go different just to keep things interesting. Nathan Cleary would not surprise me one bit. We all know the biggest stage, how much he has dominated this level for 3 years now at least, and it could be a 4th year Sunday night. But who I'll say is a guy who started on fire this season, probably the best in his position. He's probably come back to that form on the weekend. He has been a bit slow in that late part of the season with his injury, and he's just come back, and it took him a few weeks to get back. But Dylan Edwards, I think he'll be huge on Sunday night, covering meters like he does. He'll be absolutely phenomenal. He'll leave it all out in the field. We always know he will do that. So I think Dylan Edwards, he'll be everywhere that Nathan Cleary and Luai is. He'll be backing up every half break. He's coming out of yardage, he's an absolute monster. He gets Penrith on the front foot almost every time. The kicking game for the Storm will be crucial to get the ball away from him as much as possible because he's so good at getting them back into good yardage sets. And I think Dylan Edwards if Penrith win.
Well, there we go. I've heard if Penrith win, but we don't think Penrith will win, guys. So let's get into our real Clive Churchill medal. Let's start with you, Julian. Who from the Melbourne Storm? I mean, if you think a Panthers player is going to get it, we saw Jack Whiten get it in a losing side. We saw Cherry Evans, I think it was, a long time ago. So we have seen it before. Do you think the winning team gets the medal? And if so, who?
I think it will be a repeat of 2020. I think Pappenhausen could get it if he has a massive game. But well, it's been 4 years since that game. He's had the injury tolls and that, but this game could be massive for him. And if he does have one of the best games of his season, he could get it. Other than that, I reckon probably Jerome Hughes if he leads a Storm to the premiership. Then Jerome Hughes.
What about you, Joel? The odds for Jerome Hughes have come down so much, about $6.50 the other day, now into $4.50. He seems like the clear choice for the Clive if the Storm, who are favourites by 4 cents, mind you, to win.
I want to be different. I really want to say someone else, but I just think Jerome Hughes in the year that he's had, that field goal that I was predicting, I think it will be kicked by Jerome Hughes. It will be in extra time, and I think it just will be probably the icing on the cake for him and an unbelievable year. We don't know as of yet with the recording who gets the Dalian, but I've got no doubt it's between probably him and Tedesco, and I think he will get it. Probably it'll be a lot closer than a lot of people think, I feel like, but he'll get it just. So I think it'll just be icing on the cake for what a season. He's just established himself as a real premium half of the game, and to do it against Nathan Cleary, I think he'll have to have one of those games for the Storm to get home, so he has to get it.
Yeah, it's a big one for Jerome Hughes on Sunday, and he's the deserved favourite for it. But for mine, I think the Panthers' game plan will be to target Jerome Hughes, and other players will need to step up. Now, one of those players, you mentioned Julian Pappenhausen, I think he will step up. We've seen the best of the best for him. But for me, someone who has been in insane form this final series, probably one of the best players throughout the final series. And, he's got a bit of a kicking game in him as well, slightly. So my Clive Churchill medalist at 12-1 is Harry Grant. Harry Grant's done it all. He's been on the big stage. He hasn't been in the big stage in the NRL, but he's been on the big stage during Origin, gotten the job done in those Origin matches. Now he gets his opportunity in a grand final because he was obviously part of the West Tigers during that sort of Storm phase back when Cameron Smith played his last game before heading to this Storm team. And I think Bellamy is going to be having right up. They're going to know that Jerome Hughes, I'm not saying Jerome Hughes is going to be silent for the night. I think he'll still have a try assist, that sort of thing. But I think the Panthers will be able to contain him and other players will step up. This honestly could be a Storm player in the forward pack because the Storm forward pack needs to dominate against Leota and Fisher-Harris because Parramatta didn't do it 2 years ago. So I'm going to go Harry Grant. Number 9, Harry Grant to get the Clive Churchill medal as a bit of a roughie. And as Joel said, I want to go different, and I am the one going different there. Well, that wraps up our NRL Grand Final preview. We've spoken about the state championship. We've spoken about the NRLW. We want you to let you know your tips for the game in the description, in the comments below. Make sure you check out Joel from League of Inches, the League of Inches page on YouTube as well as Instagram. Do you have TikTok?
I've got them all. Apparently, I've got TikTok. I don't know how to use it, but I've got it. I've got Facebook, got it all. So if someone out there wants to reach out and help me with TikTok, please do because I've got no idea.
There you go. Someone help the old man. And then Julian, obviously we can reach you over on Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah.
Do you use YouTube or used to use YouTube?
I've got YouTube. I've still got it up. Like everything you see on TikTok, like my profile picture and all that. But yeah, mainly on TikTok.
There we go. Well, it's been a pleasure having you lads on and talking about the grand final. We spoke before the chat. Unfortunately, none of these boys will be there. As you can see, I'm already here. I've been here since 2022. There's people with Eels stuff still on. They're about to leave. I've been here for 2 years, just waiting for the premiership that, never came home. But Jason Riles will be bringing it home next year. So it's all good. But make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. I hope you guys enjoyed the NRL Grand Final preview, and I'll see you guys later.